Become the Law by Be Believes Become TV. Prologue. The Law of Becoming. I am who I repeat myself to be. You and I are not merely bodies moving through space. We are living stories, unfolding sentences written one thought at a time. Every day, whether we know it or not, we rehearse a handful of ideas. We repeat certain phrases to ourselves. We linger over specific fears. We entertain familiar hopes. Like a craftsman tapping a chisel against stone, we carve these thoughts into the substance of our identity. Gradually they become grooves, habits, patterns. Then we look up and wonder why our life is shaped the way it is. Napoleon Hill called this the law of autosuggestion, but we could just as well call it the law of becoming. You are who you repeat yourself to be. If you look back on your life, you will notice this law at work. The repeated worries that became reality. The half-hearted goals that never left the paper. The persistent belief that eventually bore fruit against all odds. All of those experiences were incubated in the mind and brought forth through repetition, faith, and action. When a child hears, "You're so clumsy every day," that suggestion becomes his identity. When a teenager repeats, "I'm not good at math," he closes the door to understanding. When a grown woman whispers, "One day I will run my own business," again and again, she begins to notice opportunities, prepare herself, and move toward them. Whether positive, repeated statements become commands. They slip past the conscious mind and become orders to our inner servant, and that servant, our subconscious, always obeys. This book is a journey into that law. A masterclass in shaping yourself deliberately rather than by accident. It does not promise magic, and yet the results may feel magical because they follow invisible rules that operate whether we acknowledge them or not. We will explore thoughts and beliefs, purpose and wealth, discipline and service, gratitude and legacy. Each chapter builds upon the last, like rungs on a ladder, guiding you from awareness. We will pause often to speak affirmations aloud, because reading these lessons is not enough. You must speak them. You must hear your own voice declaring new realities. Your voice is the chisel that shapes your stone. There is no need for mystical jargon here. The truth is plain. What you think about most, you move toward. What you speak repeatedly, you accept as true. What you affirm with conviction, you imprint on the blueprint of your life. The law of becoming is neutral. It does not ask whether you repeat success or failure, peace or anxiety. It simply returns the harvest of your repetition. Therefore, the first step in changing your life is changing what you rehearse. Write down the phrases you say to yourself when no one is listening. Are they descriptions of the future you desire, or echoes of fears you want to leave behind? Decide now that your inner monologue will become your greatest ally. Decide to speak to yourself like a builder laying plans for a great house, not like a critic tearing down a shack. As we begin, take a deep breath. You are not condemned to remain as you have been. Your past repetitions brought you here, but new repetitions will carry you further. Imagine yourself standing at the foot of a mountain. The path winds upward. Each step is a thought. Each handhold, a word. Each resting point, an act of service. At the summit awaits a better version of you, not someone else's ideal, but your own fullest expression. Climb with courage, climb with intention. Speak your ascent into being. This is not about pretending or forcing a false identity. It is about becoming who you already are, underneath the dust of doubt, beyond the noise of old beliefs. You are the one who gets to shape the stone of yourself, and that shaping begins now. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where your last repetition left you, and exactly one new repetition away from a new direction. Choose a new sentence. Begin a new rehearsal, and let this book be your daily script. As we begin, take a deep breath. You are not condemned to remain as you have been. Your past repetitions brought you here, but new repetitions will carry you further. Imagine yourself standing at the foot of a mountain. The path winds upward. Each step is a thought. Each handhold, a word. Each resting point, an act of service. At the summit awaits a better version of you, not someone else's ideal, but your own fullest expression. Climb with courage. Climb with intention. Speak your ascent into being. This is not about pretending or forcing a false identity. It is about becoming who you already are, underneath the dust of doubt, beyond the noise of old beliefs. You are the one who gets to shape the stone of yourself, and that shaping begins now. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where your last repetition left you, and exactly one new repetition away from a new direction. Choose a new sentence. Begin a new rehearsal, and let this book be your daily script. Prologue. Affirmation. I am who I repeat myself to be. I choose my thoughts. I choose my words. And through them, I choose my life. Say this aloud 3 times. Let the words sink like seeds into fertile soil. With that seed planted, we begin the climb. PAV. PIVE. Optional trailer clip. Short CTA variant. 511 characters. File name. BTL Prologue. 5 trailer. Trailer G-Wave narrator. Paula J. Script. This is Become the Law, a journey of inner construction. One thought at a time. One sentence at a time. One step at a time. If you believe repetition is transformation, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV and build with us. Your future is already listening. Let's speak it into being. If this journey is speaking to you and you're ready to shape your life one thought at a time, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV. There's more ahead. Let's begin Chapter 1, The Power of Thought. Chapter 1, The Power of Thought. Thought is the first cause. It is the seed of every harvest, the blueprint of every building, the spark behind every flame. Before any action is taken, a thought precedes it. Before any habit is formed, a thought initiates it. Before any life is lived, a thought shapes its frame. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is practical reality. Thought is the unseen architecture of the seen world. Look around. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the device in your hand, all of it began in thought. Someone imagined it. Someone shaped it in their mind. And from that unseen space, it entered time and became real. Your life works the same way. Your relation, your income, your self-image, all of them are shaped by patterns of thought. What you repeat, you reinforce. What you reinforce, you become. Most people do not think deliberately. They react. They absorb. They let other people's voices fill their minds until they no longer know which thoughts are truly their own. But if you can pause even for a moment and ask, "What am I thinking?" you begin the work of mastery. Because to master your thoughts is to master your direction. This chapter is not about stopping thought. It is about choosing thought. About recognizing that the first brushstroke of any day is painted in the mind. Thought is the architect. Speech is the builder. Habit is the tenant. And life is the house. So we begin with the architect. Your mind is never quiet. Even in moments of stillness, an inner voice speaks, and that voice is shaped by the thoughts you repeat most often. What do you say to yourself when you wake up? When you make a mistake? When you look in the mirror? Are your thoughts empowering or condemning? Are they aligned with where you're going or stuck replaying where you've been? Repetition is rehearsal, and rehearsal builds belief. You become fluent in the language you use most. The child who is told you're smart starts to act that way. The adult who says, I always mess things up, begins to expect that outcome. Most thoughts go unexamined. They slip beneath awareness, but they still do their work. They dig trenches in the brain, and over time, those trenches become highways, default paths the mind follows without resistance. But this is where your power lies. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are their author. Yes, some of your thoughts were inherited. Yes, some were spoken into you by others, parents, teachers, media, pain. But the moment you become aware of a thought, you gain the ability to edit it. And if you can edit it, you can eventually replace it. This chapter is your invitation to take responsibility for what happens between your ears. Not with shame, but with curiosity. Not with panic, but with possibility. You are not your past thoughts. You are the thinker of thoughts, and you are free to think again. There is a skill known to great athletes, top performers, and spiritual teachers alike. It is the art of redirection. When an unhelpful thought arises, they do not panic. They simply redirect. They insert a new thought, a better thought, and shift their focus toward it. They train the mind like a muscle, not with harshness, but with consistency. This can be your approach too. When the voice inside says, I always fail, you can respond, perhaps I've failed in the past, but I am learning. I am growing. I am not finished. You don't have to lie to yourself. You just have to lead yourself. Leading yourself means choosing your focus, noticing when a thought is disempowering, and gently returning to one that strengthens you. Over time, these small returns compound. Each time you interrupt a self-limiting narrative, you reclaim authority over your inner world. This is not denial. This is design. You are designing a mental environment where growth is more likely than defeat, where belief has a voice louder than fear. Thoughts become actions. Actions become patterns. Patterns become identity. And identity becomes destiny. So where do you begin? You begin by listening. Not to everything, but to yourself. Not to the noise of the world, but to the tone of your own mind. Your future is forming. Thought is the first tool. Use it well. Endure. That belief is not fixed. It is built one thought at a time. If you believe you're unworthy, you'll reject praise. If you believe you're unlucky, you'll ignore opportunity. If you believe you're powerless, you'll surrender before you begin. But if you shift those thoughts even slightly, you shift everything else with them. That's why affirmations are not magic. They are mirrors. When spoken with intention, they reflect who you are becoming and invite that version of you to emerge. You do not need to say them perfectly. You need to say them honestly, with repetition, with desire, with faith. Here is your first identity affirmation for this chapter. I am the thinker of thoughts. I return to them, and through them I shape my life. Say this aloud 3 times. Let your voice become part of the shaping. Let your words become seeds for a different harvest. No one else can think for you. No one else can author your identity. That is your gift. That is your task. Let your thoughts begin the transformation. Chapter 2: The Law of Belief. You do not act out of what is true. You act out of what you believe to be true. The person who believes the stove is hot won't touch it, whether it's hot or not. The person who believes they're unworthy will sabotage opportunities, even if everyone around them disagrees. That's the power of belief. It does not wait for facts. It moves as if its version of reality is the only version. And over time, the world around you bends to fit the world within you. This is the law of belief. What you believe consistently, you begin to see. What you believe deeply, you begin to become. If belief seems invisible, it's only because it lives below the surface, like roots under soil. You may not notice them, but they are holding up the tree of your life. And just like roots, beliefs can be planted, watered, trimmed, and even replaced. You inherited many of your early beliefs. Some were spoken into you by parents or teachers. Some came from pain, trauma, or environment. Some were adopted simply by repetition, never questioned, only absorbed. But today, you are invited to become the gardener of your own belief system, to examine each root, to decide what stays and what must go, and to recognize that you are no longer a child waiting for permission to grow. You are free to believe differently, free to believe deliberately, free to build your life from the inside out. Not every belief is useful, not every belief is true, but every belief is powerful because it sets the boundaries of what you will even attempt. The person who believes they're just not good with money won't invest time learning how to manage it. The one who believes they're not a people person avoids connection and reinforces that belief through isolation. But what if those beliefs are not facts? What if they're just stories, old ones, and you simply never replaced the script? Take out a sheet of paper. Write down 10 beliefs you have about yourself. Finish the sentence, I believe I am. Then pause. Look at each one. Ask, where did I get this belief? Is it serving me? Do I want to keep it? You will find that some of your beliefs are hand-me-downs, given to you without your consent. Others were formed in moments of fear, shame, or failure, and some are simply outdated, like software running your life from 10 years ago. Now ask, what would I attempt if I didn't believe this? What would change if I believed the opposite? This is not about blind optimism. It's about conscious authorship. You cannot live a life larger than your life. You must build bigger beliefs. Belief and faith are siblings. Belief is the thought you hold. Faith is how much power you give that thought. Some people believe they'll never succeed, and they have deep faith in that belief. So they speak it, expect it, and live beneath it. Faith is the fuel of belief. It adds weight to the thought. The more you feel something is true, the more likely you are to act as if it is. That's why belief is not just mental, it's emotional. You don't just think a belief, you feel it. It lives in your gut, in your posture, in your decision-making. So how do you begin building a better belief? You rehearse it, you declare it. You find evidence for it, even in small ways. You say, I am worthy of success. I can learn new skills. My future is not bound by my past. At first, your emotions may not agree. You may feel silly, awkward, or fake. That's normal. You're not trying to force belief, you're planting it. And just like any seed, belief needs time, sunlight, and repetition. Speak it anyway, affirm it anyway. Let your actions water the seed, and soon your emotions will catch up. Faith works both ways. You can have faith in your fears or faith in your growth. Choose wisely. You are the narrator of your inner world. And every day you tell yourself a story about who you are, what you can do, and what the world expects of you. That story runs in the background like an operating system. But just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's helpful. It may be outdated. It may be corrupted by someone else's fear. It may be too small for the person you're becoming. Your job is to rewrite it. Start with one line, a single belief you want to live by. Try. I trust myself. I make decisions with clarity. My effort creates momentum. I have something valuable to give. Now speak that belief aloud. Write it somewhere visible. Repeat it when your old story resurfaces. This is not about pretending, it's about training. Every time you rehearse the new line, you weaken the grip of the old one. Every time you act in alignment with that belief, you reinforce it. Over time, the new belief becomes the default. And you wake up one day realizing you are no longer trying to become something you already are. You are no longer rehearsing identity. You are expressing it. That is the power of belief. Chapter 2, Affirmation. I believe I am worthy. I believe I am becoming. I believe what I rehearse. And I choose my rehearsal wisely. Say it aloud 3 times, not as a wish, but as a commitment. You are not defined by past belief. You are defined by present repetition. And this, right here, right now, is a new repetition. If this message is helping you reclaim your mind, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV. There's more ahead. Let's build belief together, one thought at a time. Chapter 3, The Law of Purpose. Inside every person is a compass. It does not always shout. It rarely gives step-by-step instructions. But it points inwardly toward what matters most. That compass is purpose. It is the sense that your life is not random, that you were born for something, that your gifts were given for a reason. Purpose is not the same as passion. Passion is emotional. Purpose is directional. Passion may burn hot one day and fade the next. Purpose stays steady. It speaks even when you are tired. It calls even when you are unsure. And when you move toward it, something inside you aligns. Purpose is not always grand. It does not always look like a stage or spotlight. Sometimes it looks like service. Sometimes it sounds like stillness. But always it orients you. It helps you know what to say yes to and what to walk away from. When you have purpose, you don't need to chase everything. You move with focus. You endure with resilience. You build with meaning. Most people drift because they've never stopped to ask, what is pulling me forward? What work makes me feel useful, even when it's hard? What kind of life would make my time here feel well spent? Purpose doesn't make life easier, but it makes it clearer. And clarity is power. You may be wondering, how do I find my purpose? You don't find it like a lost sock. You uncover it by paying attention. Look at what draws your attention again and again. What burdens you in a way that feels sacred? What do people come to you for, even when you don't advertise it? Purpose leaves fingerprints. You see it in the problems you feel compelled to solve. You hear it in the encouragement you offer without effort. You notice it in the tasks that exhaust others but energize you. These are not accidents. The universe does not waste wiring. Your gifts, tendencies, and sensitivities point to where you are most needed. Sometimes we avoid purpose because it feels heavy. Because deep down, we know that purpose asks something of us. It calls us to grow, to stretch, to show up. But here is the truth. The weight of purpose is lighter than the weight of regret. You were not designed to drift forever. You were made to aim. Even if you don't know the full picture, you can begin with a direction, and purpose will clarify itself along the way. There is a reason purpose feels risky, because once you name it, you are accountable to it. You can no longer pretend you don't know what matters. You can no longer numb yourself with noise or stay hidden behind excuses. This is why many people delay, not because they lack purpose, but because they fear the responsibility it brings. You will hear voices, both inside and out. You're not qualified. You're too late. No one will care. Recognize those voices for what they are: resistance. They show up because purpose is near. They bark louder when you are close to breakthrough. Your job is not to silence every fear. It is to keep moving, even with them whispering. Courage is not loud. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to try again tomorrow. To show up for the work, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Purpose will ask for your hands, but it will also offer you peace. Because nothing feels better than doing what you were made for. Living with purpose is not about chasing big moments. It's about aligning small decisions with big meaning. You ask, does this job reflect my values? Does this relationship nourish or drain me? Does how I spend my time match who I say I am? When life is out of alignment, stress increases. You feel torn, distracted, heavy. But when even one area realigns with your purpose, you feel lighter. You regain energy. This is how you course correct. Identify where you feel misaligned. Name the belief or habit that's holding you there. Choose one small action that moves you closer to your purpose. Not 10 steps. Just one. Purpose is not a finish line. It's a compass. You don't arrive, you adjust. And with every adjustment, you feel more whole. This is also how you serve others. When your life flows from purpose, it blesses everyone around you. Your clarity inspires. Your energy uplifts. Your example leads. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be pointed in the right direction. Chapter 3. Affirmation. I am made with purpose. I move with intention. I align my choices with what matters most. Say it aloud 3 times. Let the words take root. Your life is not random. Your story is not wasted. Your impact is not finished. Purpose lives in the pattern of your decisions. If this message is helping you live on purpose, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV for more audiobooks, affirmations, and focused growth. One step, one choice, one aligned thought at a time. Chapter 4. The Law of Wealth. Wealth is not money. Money is a tool, a reflection, a magnifier. But wealth is the mindset that governs how you use it, attract it, and multiply it. True wealth begins within. You've met people with millions but no peace, and others with little yet full of generosity, clarity, and purpose. Wealth is not just what you have, it's what you can give. It's the sense that you are resourceful, that you have options, that you can create, not just consume. The first step in the law of wealth is to examine your beliefs about it. What were you taught growing up? That money is evil? That wanting more is greedy? That you must hustle endlessly to deserve it? These beliefs hide beneath the surface, shaping how you earn, spend, and even self-sabotage. But here's the truth. Money is neutral. It takes on the character of the person who holds it. In wise hands, it heals. In fearful hands, it disappears. In generous hands, it multiplies. If you want more wealth, become someone who can handle more. Not through stress, but through structure. Not through guilt, but through purpose. This chapter will not promise overnight riches, but it will promise something far better, a renewed relationship with the flow of value in your life. Because money follows value. And when you become valuable, internally, emotionally, creatively, money begins to seek you. Wealth flows where value is created. If you want to receive more, serve more, solve a problem, lift a burden, improve someone's experience of life. Every product, paycheck, or payment is an exchange, value for value. And those who become skilled at providing value become magnets for resources. But this starts with how you see yourself. If you believe your skills are average, you'll underprice them. If you think your ideas are common, you won't share them. If you doubt your worth, you'll reject opportunities before they're offered. So shift that. Stop asking, how do I make money? Start asking, how do I help more people, more deeply, more often? Because money is not a mystery. It's a mirror. It reflects the value you release, the problems you solve, and the courage you've developed in delivering your gifts to the world. Now, value doesn't always mean business. Some value is emotional, some is spiritual, some is quiet and unseen, but powerful. A friend who always listens brings value. A worker who shows up on time with a great attitude brings value. A creator who shares truth from the heart brings value. You don't have to become someone else. You just have to become useful on purpose. That's how wealth begins to find you. Money must move. Like blood in the body or water in a river, wealth only stays alive when it circulates. Stagnant money becomes stress. Circulating money becomes strategy. This is why the law of wealth is not just about receiving, it's about stewardship. How do you handle what already flows through your hands? Do you waste it, fear it, hoard it, or ignore it? Or do you direct it with intention? You don't need millions to be a steward, you just need clarity and care. Track your spending, plan your giving, design your saving, and assign your investing. Not perfectly, but purposefully. This trains your mind to respect money, and respected money tends to grow. One of the most overlooked wealth skills is management, because many people focus on making more, but never learn to manage what they already have. If you cannot manage $100, you won't manage $10,000. The amount only magnifies the habit. Stewardship is not about guilt, it's about growth. It turns wealth into a tool, not a trap. And once you become a wise steward, the universe seems to say, now you're ready for more. No wealth practice will last if your identity rejects it. You can build a budget, but if deep down you believe I'm bad with money, you'll abandon it. You can launch a business, but if you think I'm not the kind of person who succeeds, you'll sabotage it. Wealth is not just external strategy, it's internal permission. You must see yourself as someone who can have and handle abundance. That means healing money shame. That means forgiving past financial mistakes. That means letting go of the story that says, people like me don't have money, or I'm just not wired for success. You are wired for growth. You are wired for learning. You are wired for becoming. And wealth is not about proving yourself. It's about providing from your overflow. When your inner world stabilizes, your outer world reflects it. You spend with peace. You give with joy. You earn with clarity. Not to impress, but to express. Not to hoard, but to flow. Not to escape lack, but to build legacy. Wealth doesn't change who you are. It amplifies what's already inside. So let what's inside be worthy of amplification. Chapter 4. Affirmation. I create value. I receive wisely. I steward with clarity. I attract abundance that aligns with my purpose. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it reset how you see wealth. You are not too late. You are not behind. And you do not need permission to prosper. If this message books, affirmations, and tools for your next level. What you rehearse, you become. And wealth begins within. Chapter 5. The Law of Action. Thought is the blueprint. Belief is the foundation. But action is the builder. Nothing changes until something moves. You can write affirmations. You can journal your dreams. You can visualize the life you want in perfect detail. But if you don't act, the blueprint remains a wish. Action turns thought into form. Many people get stuck here, not because they lack desire, but because they're waiting for clarity, certainty, or permission. They want to feel ready. But readiness is not a requirement, it's a result. You become ready by moving. Clarity comes from momentum. Confidence comes from trying. Success comes from stacking actions, not just intentions. Every transformation requires movement. And the law of action is simple. Do something, then adjust, then do something else. Perfection is not required. Consistency is. Because every step you take becomes proof to your subconscious that this matters. And once your subconscious believes that, it begins to help. That's when doors open. That's when energy returns. That's when you look back and say, I didn't feel ready, but I'm so glad I start. You don't need to leap. You just need to move. The law of action rewards motion, even if it's small. Write one page. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Don't underestimate what small actions can do. They disrupt inertia. They change your self-image. They create evidence that you are in motion, and momentum builds from there. Most people never start because they think they need to do everything. But the secret is to do something and let that open the door to more. You'll never feel like doing it every day. But you don't need to feel like it. You need to honor the rhythm of repetition. Action doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be pointed. Even a flawed step in the right direction beats a perfect plan that never leaves the page. So ask yourself, what's one action I've been avoiding? What's one move I can make today? Not next week, not when I feel inspired. Today. Start where you are, use what you have. Move with what you know. The law of action rewards the courageous, not the comfortable. Every great change meets resistance. You'll face distraction, doubt, laziness, and fear. They're not flaws, they're forces that test your commitment. The law of action says you don't need to eliminate resistance, you need to act anyway. Discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's the decision to honor your future self more than your current comfort. You act not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are becoming. This is how habits are built. Not through motivation, but through identity. You take the walk because you are someone who values energy. You do the work because you are someone who finishes what they start. You rest not to avoid the work, but to renew for it. And slowly, resistance fades. Not all at once, but in degrees. Your brain begins to trust you. Your spirit begins to lift. And you no longer need to force action. It flows from who you've become. Action is the language of faith. You say you believe in your dream. Prove it by working toward it. You say you believe in abundance. Prove it by preparing for it. You say you believe in transformation. Prove it by rehearsing it out loud in action today. Faith without action is a locked door. Action is the key. When you act, you activate hidden resources. People notice, energy gathers, ideas surface, support appears. Not because you waited, but because you moved. Inaction breeds doubt. Action breeds clarity. Even if the outcome is uncertain, the effort is never wasted. Every action makes you braver. Every step strengthens your commitment. This is what the law of action teaches. Belief must move, desire must do. Intention must become effort. And even when no one is watching, even when the path is foggy, act anyway. The path clears for those who walk it. Chapter 5. Affirmation. I take action. I move even when it's hard. I build momentum through small steps. And I trust that my effort creates my future. Say it aloud 3 times. Action is alignment. Action is faith. Action is becoming. If this message is fueling your movement, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV and continue the climb chapter by chapter. You don't need more time, you need more motion. Let's go. Chapter 6. The Law of Self-Mastery. You are the captain of your soul. Not the storm, not the wind, not the waves. You. Life will throw many things at you, but how you respond is your responsibility. Self-mastery is the ability to govern yourself even when everything around you is unstable. It's not about control over others. It's not perfection. It's power, inward, steady, earned. You don't master yourself by force. You master yourself through awareness. By noticing your triggers before they take over, by choosing your reaction instead of being ruled by impulse, by giving your emotions a seat at the table, but not the steering wheel. Self-mastery is emotional maturity in motion. It shows up when you don't snap back at the insult, when you finish the task despite the resistance, when you hold your tongue, hold your vision, hold your peace. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest, it's the one who owns their response. Because response is your last freedom, and the most powerful tool in your becoming. Your emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. They tell you where you're wounded, where you feel unsafe, where you've been silent for too long. Self-mastery does not mean you suppress them. It means you hear them without letting them hijack your life. Anger shows where a boundary was crossed. Fear shows where trust is thin. Sadness shows where something mattered. But mastery means you respond, not just react. Instead of snapping, you pause. Instead of spiraling, you breathe. Instead of blaming, you observe. You don't deny how you feel, you direct how you express it. This is not weakness. This is strength that doesn't scream. Because your energy is sacred. Your reactions shape your outcomes. Your emotional patterns create your atmosphere. So protect your energy like wealth. Invest it where it grows. Withdraw it where it's wasted. And most of all, use it to build, not to burn. Self-mastery is not a single decision. It's a system of small choices made daily. And the most powerful tool in that system is habit. What you do repeatedly, you become. What you rehearse, you embody. So look at your habits. Do they build the person you want to be, or the one you're trying to outgrow? Do you reach for your phone before reaching for purpose? Do you default to distraction when discomfort arises? Do you nourish your mind as often as you scroll? Mastery is found in routines, not inspiration. Wake up on purpose. Eat to think clearly. Move your body to move your mood. Declutter your space to declutter your thoughts. The most successful people aren't superhuman. They're simply consistent. And consistency is a form of mastery, because when you keep showing up, even when it's hard, you train your mind to trust you. And self-trust is the foundation of everything you build. Mastery also means saying no without guilt, apology, or over-explaining. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to something that could build you. Peace is not passive. It's protected. You must choose what you let into your space and what you let go. This includes relationships, media, habits, even thoughts. You are not obligated to entertain every opinion. You are not required to argue every attack. You are allowed to protect your focus fiercely. Self-mastery means you choose your battles. You guard your morning. You unplug without explanation. Because the version of you you're building is worth defending. And peace is fuel for your becoming. So ask daily, does this contribute to who I'm becoming? Or is it just noise? Mastery clears the noise so you can hear your own inner voice again. Chapter 6. Affirmation. I lead myself. I master my emotions. I build habits that match my vision. And I protect my energy like wealth. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it reset how you respond to life. Mastery doesn't make you perfect. It makes you powerful in your own presence. If this chapter sharpened your self-control, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV for the next step in your evolution. Mastery is a mirror, and you are learning to lead the person you see. Chapter 7. The Law of Service. There is a version of success that's only about you, your goals, your bank account, your applause. But there's a higher form of success, impact. That's where service begins. Service is not just charity. It's not a donation you make when you have leftovers. It's a way of being, a decision to use your life for something beyond yourself. Every person you admire, every legacy that lasts, they all shared one thing in common. They served. They solved problems, lifted burdens, created beauty, made others better. You were not born to be self-centered. You were born to be useful. And the great what you consume. It comes from what you contribute. Service does not shrink you, it expands you. Because in giving, you grow. In lifting, you rise. In helping, you become whole. This is the paradox of purpose. When you help others become more, you become more too. You don't need a platform to serve. You don't. You serve by showing up, by noticing the person no one sees, by listening when someone needs to speak, by sharing what you've learned, even if you're still learning. Service isn't just for saints and CEOs. It's for everyday people who choose to be present. The cashier who makes eye contact and smiles. The teacher who stays late to encourage a struggling student. The sibling who sends a message that says, "I'm proud of you." These moments matter. They ripple. You never know when your small act of service becomes someone's turning point. And as you practice service, something shifts inside you. You stop obsessing over your flaws and start noticing your strengths. You stop asking, "What am I missing?" and start asking, "Who can I help?" And that's the moment you become dangerous, not because you're perfect, but because you're purposeful. Service builds legacy. One day, your name will be spoken in the past tense. And the people who mention you won't talk about what you wore, what you owned, or how many followers you had. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll recall the time you listened, the moment you gave, the lesson you taught without preaching. That's the real inheritance, impact. You may never know the full effect of your service, but serve anyway. Plant seeds. Offer wisdom. Share courage. Let your life become a path others can walk. Legacy is not about being famous. It's about being faithful to the part of the world you're called to change. And everyone has a part. Your voice, your experience, your journey, even the hard parts, can help someone rise. That's what service is. Taking your becoming and using it to help someone else become too. The ego asks, what do I get? Purpose asks, what do I give? You're not here just to impress. You're here to contribute. And contribution doesn't drain you, it develops you. Because when you give from a place of strength, you don't lose energy. You multiply it. But service must be sustainable. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot give what you haven't healed. You must allow yourself rest, renewal, and boundaries. This is not martyrdom. This is maturity. True service comes after you've filled your own cup. It overflows. So heal first, grow first, lead yourself first, then serve, not from desperation, but from your wholeness. That's the kind of service that transforms lives. That's the kind of impact that lasts. Chapter 7, Affirmation. I serve with joy. I lead with love. I give from strength. I live to lift others. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it anchor your energy for the day. Service is not a sacrifice, it's a strategy. It keeps your heart soft and your purpose clear. And if this message is expanding your view of success, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV. There's more to become, and the path to greatness always includes lifting someone else. Chapter 8. The Law of Gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness. It's not passive. It's not denial. Gratitude is power, subtle but transformative. It changes how you see, and how you see shapes how you show up. The law of gratitude says this. What you appreciate appreciates. What you honor multiplies. What you focus on grows. It's not magic, it's attention. When you train your attention to see value, you begin to find it everywhere. You begin to speak differently. You begin to carry yourself with peace, not panic. Because gratitude brings perspective. It reminds you that not all progress is loud, that some wins are quiet, that some miracles look like ordinary moments until they're gone. You may not be where you want to be, but gratitude helps you see how far you've come. And that awareness makes the next step lighter. Gratitude is strength, not because it removes struggle, but because it reveals that even struggle contains treasure. Gratitude is a daily decision. It's easy to be thankful when everything flows, when the sun is shining, when the news is good. But true gratitude is forged in the fire. It says, even now I can find something to bless. It doesn't mean you pretend pain isn't real. It means you refuse to let pain blind you to beauty. Gratitude sharpens your vision. It turns complaints into clarity. It turns delays into lessons. It turns the ordinary into sacred. Each morning you have a choice: to rehearse lack or to name what is good, to focus on what's missing or on what's already moving in your favor. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Your brain begins to scan for what's working. Your spirit becomes lighter. You find energy not from caffeine, but from perspective. And the day that begins in gratitude rarely ends in regret. Gratitude opens you to receive. Many people block blessings because they don't know how to honor them. They say it's nothing when someone compliments their growth. They dismiss help. They downplay their wins. But what you dismiss, you distance. What you belittle, you push away. The law of gratitude teaches this. When you fully receive what you already have, you become ready to hold more. Say thank you and mean it. For your breath, for the lesson, for the second chance, for the friend who checks in, for the inner strength you didn't know you had. The more you honor what you have, the more life begins to trust you with increase. Because you're no longer leaking energy through complaints, you're circulating energy through appreciation. Gratitude is not just emotional, it's magnetic. It draws in more of what you recognize, more of what you acknowledge, more of what you celebrate. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a practice. And like any practice, it deepens with repetition. Keep a journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Say thank you before your meals, not out of habit, but with awareness. Send messages to people who've impacted you, even if it's been years. Make gratitude active. Speak it, show it, live it. It doesn't have to be profound. It just has to be real. Say, I'm grateful for this quiet moment. I'm grateful I didn't give up. I'm grateful for a mind that wants to grow. The more you practice, the more fluent you become. And eventually, gratitude becomes your default. Not because life is always easy, but because you've learned how to find gold in every season. Chapter 8. Affirmation. I am grateful. I honor what is working. I speak what is beautiful. And I trust that gratitude prepares me for more. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it reshape your focus. Gratitude is not weakness, it is readiness. It makes room for new blessing. If this chapter grounded your perspective, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV and keep climbing with intention. Ignore and bless what others rush past. Chapter 7. The Law of Service. There is a version of success that's only about you, your goals, your bank account, your applause. But there's a higher form of success, impact. That's where service begins. Service is not just charity. It's not a donation you make when you have leftovers. It's a way of being, a decision to use your life for something beyond yourself. Every person you admire, every legacy that lasts, they all shared one thing in common. They served. They solved problems, lifted burdens, created beauty, made others better. You were not born to be self-centered. You were born to be useful. And the greatest fulfillment doesn't come from what you consume. It comes from what you contribute. Service does not shrink you, it expands you. Because in giving, you grow. In lifting, you rise. In helping, you become whole. This is the paradox of purpose. When you help others become more, you become more too. You don't need a platform to serve. You don't need millions of followers or a perfect plan. You serve by showing up, by noticing the person no one sees, by listening when someone needs to speak, by sharing what you've learned, even if you're still learning. Service isn't just for saints and CEOs. It's for everyday people who choose to be present. The cashier who makes eye contact and smiles. The teacher who stays late to encourage a struggling student. The sibling who sends a message that says, "I'm proud of you." These moments matter. They ripple. You never know when your small act of service becomes someone's turning point. And as you practice service, something shifts inside you. You stop obsessing over your flaws and start noticing your strengths. You stop asking, "What am I missing?" and start asking, "Who can I help?" And that's the moment you become dangerous, not because you're perfect, but because you're purposeful. Service builds legacy. One day, your name will be spoken in the past tense. And the people who mention you won't talk about what you wore, what you owned, or how many followers you had. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll recall the time you listened, the moment you gave, the lesson you taught without preaching. That's the real inheritance, impact. You may never know the full effect of your service, but serve anyway. Plant seeds. Offer wisdom. Share courage. Let your life become a path others can walk. Legacy is not about being famous. It's about being faithful to the part of the world you're called to change. And everyone has a part. Your voice, your experience, your journey, even the hard parts, can help someone rise. That's what service is. Taking your becoming and using it to help someone else become too. The ego asks, what do I get? Purpose asks, what do I give? You're not here just to impress, you're here to contribute. And contribution doesn't drain you, it develops you. Because when you give from a place of strength, you don't lose energy. You multiply it. But service must be sustainable. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot give what you haven't healed. You must allow yourself rest, renewal, and boundaries. This is not martyrdom. This is maturity. True service comes after you've filled your own cup. It overflows. So heal first. Grow first. Lead yourself first. Then serve, not from desperation, but from your wholeness. That's the kind of service that transforms lives. That's the kind of impact that lasts. Chapter 7. Affirmation. I serve with joy. I lead with love. I give from strength. I live to lift others. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it anchor your energy for the day. Service is not a sacrifice, it's a strategy. It keeps your heart soft and your purpose clear. And if this message is expanding your view of success, subscribe to Be Believe, Become TV. There's more to become. And the path to greatness always includes lifting someone else. Epilogue. You are the law. This book has not given you power. It has revealed the power you already carry. The thoughts you think, the words you speak, the actions you take. These are not random. They are laws in motion. They are the architecture of becoming. You do not need to wait for permission. You do not need another sign. You have everything required to begin right now. Because the truth is this. You are not under the law of chance. You are under the law of choice. The law of thought, the law of belief, the law of action, the law of service, the law of gratitude, the law of legacy. They're not just principles, they are you in motion. Becoming isn't a single event, it's a daily climb. Some days will feel steep, some days will feel slow, but every day matters. Because each repetition is a step. Each affirmation is a handhold. Each choice is a marker on the path. You are not who you used to be. And you are not yet who you will be. But if you stay on the path, if you rehearse the truth, if you declare the new identity, you will arrive. So keep climbing. And every time you forget, return to the law. You are who you repeat yourself to be. Final affirmation. I am becoming. I am deliberate. I am powerful. I am the law of my life. Say this aloud 3 times. Let it echo beyond this moment. This book may end here, but your becoming does not. Keep growing. Keep choosing. Keep becoming the law. And if this journey has spoken to you, subscribe to Be Believe, Become TV and join a movement of those becoming with intention. Your life is the law in motion. Live it deliberately.